All right, so I'm over at Larry's house. He owns the Villain, so this is Larry the Villain. He's a good guy, not a villain.
Sometimes.
Yeah, and he is about to replace the steel cable that came with his Villain. He has a 23, just like I do, 72-inch wide. And he's going to put a rope on there. So let's see if this is as easy as we've been led to believe. We should be done in like 5 minutes. Okay, maybe not. All right, Larry, take it away. What are we doing?
Okay, if you guys have never done it before, if you've never used your winch before, which a lot of people haven't, you have a free spool, which is usually on one of the sides. And what will happen is when you click it and you turn it, it frees up your spool to where you can take and pull this out. Very important, because if you do use it, that's the first thing you have to do to pull this thing out to go hook up to a tree or whatever you're going to hook up to. Be yourself a tree to get out, somebody else that you're trying to get out, and this is what you do. Now once you got it out, you would again click it back and then use your winch to operate.
Now, if this wasn't brand new, I would advise gloves, because everything I know says those wires break and they poke nasty holes.
You're 100% correct, but you know what? I was born and raised using my hands without gloves, and that's the way I work.
He's got 2 of them, so he has a spare. So Larry's gotten almost to the end, and you'll notice that the steel cable is red, because if you are using this cable to do a pull, do not unroll the red. It needs to stay on the spool to make sure it doesn't come loose. And if these things break, they can kill you or whoever's standing nearby. This is why we're going to rope. It's much, much safer. So we need space to get in here to the winch. So Larry's got a number 5 Allen wrench on his drill, and he's taking the plate off to see if that gives him access. So we had to get the remote in order to rotate this around so that we could find the bolt to release the cable. And I can't really see it, but hopefully you can with the camera.
See the tip of my finger?
So it's at the tip of Larry's finger. Yeah, I'm not getting anywhere. I see his finger though.
That's right.
So we found an extension and a power tool to get in there and loosen the nut that is holding the steel cable to the reel. And when Larry pulls the tool out, I'll tell you what size it is. So that was a 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench that came out of there, and this is the teeny little nut or bolt that was holding it in. And we don't need that anymore because we're going to use. So this rope came with
sorry
with this thing, which we're not going to use, so Larry cut it off, and then the next thing we're going to wrap some tape around that cord, but he's got to figure out how to get it in. So Larry has used the remote for the winch to get that hole in a position, and he's taken this Allen wrench and poked it through the hole, so I'm not sure what you're able to see. And then pull out the Allen wrench, because that's the size of the hole, and grab the rope. See, that's going to be a tight fit. So some electrical tape, and I don't know, we'll see what happens. Yeah, so pull that thing back and forth. Yep, so that's where the hole is, and you can kind of see down here in the bottom the red as it's going up, and then the tip of the tool as it pops out the top. Hopefully that helps. So be sure you get the right size cable. This is a 4,500 pound winch, and it may be hard to tell from here, but we're not sure, because this cable was ordered a long time ago, the rope. It might be just slightly larger in diameter than the steel cable, which will make your job even harder. Okay, so we fed it in from the bottom out the top, brought it back around, and now Larry's doing a small knot, and he's trying to put the knot on the outside so that when it starts rolling up there won't be a big lump. But he's going to do several wraps around the extra material and then cut off the excess. He's turning on the remote and getting ready to start doing the wraps. You want to get that nice and tight, and try to do smooth, right next to each other wrap. Yeah, move that front out. Alright, so before you get too carried away, take the end, this, feed it through. There's a roller here that it has to go over, and then it comes through the center. So you want to get that through there before you get too carried. So Larry has the remote. I have a hold of the cable, and he's going to line it all up, and we're going to roll it onto the spool nice and neat. At least that's the plan. Alright, so we're rolling it on. Larry's making sure it goes nice and straight. I'm just back here loosely hanging on, making sure it doesn't knot. You're on.
Okay, we did put a different clevis hook back on. It's a little bit stronger than what came on the Segway. Simple thing, the winch line comes already prepared for it. Just a matter of pulling the cotter key and the pin out, sliding it on. What I'm going to do next is mount. Now this is aftermarket. This is mine I had on the other one. And what this will do is once I'm done, it'll form a ball so where it can only go up to a certain point in here and won't allow it to get itself caught.
And we'll show you after we're finished. Here we are finishing up. Look at that, with the ball protecting it so it doesn't disappear. It looks like a professional did it. So all that's left in this case is to put the plate back on, and Larry has a camera up front, so that'll get mounted as well. We're done. Oh, and don't forget the strap. Not as important with cable, but or with the rope, with the steel cable. That was important because you're trying to keep your hands away from the steel so you don't get buttered.